All right, guys, welcome to a live video. The draft has just happened. And I think we could all say that a few draft picks probably went different ways than we thought. So I thought, why not jump in, get some questions in, and have a discussion about it as well, and sort of see where everybody is with the draft. Are they happy with what we got? Was anybody shocked? I could definitely tell you that me and Tim were a bit blown away, messaging each other between Twitter. Confused what was going on because there were so many good players left, even at pick 31 when we got Zane Picker. I believe that's how you pronounce it. That was really exciting to see that we actually, I think we addressed a need, a fair few needs, I think, as well. We definitely decided to hit the draft hard, and just by watching some of the other draft reviews and recaps about sort of Richmond, they were really shocked at how well Richmond's doing their rebuild. So I thought, let's jump on and actually have discussions about it and ask some questions. So I've also got some other graphics up about the players we drafted to talk about, why Richmond drafted them, because I think it's a great idea to discuss why they went in this way. We did not take Sullivan Roby, which we could all probably confidently say we thought we were. So it's probably a good idea to talk about why didn't we take Sullivan Roby. So I know it's a Saturday night. I was going to do it last night, this live, but I had a big day at work, so I was quite tired. And the past few days have been quite a lot of late nights watching the draft, analysing it, and then obviously when you take your players, you sort of want to start to research them a bit more, because I can tell you right now that Noah Robert Thomas had no idea who he was, so I obviously need to look into him. And Zane Picker, I didn't know who they were either. So I need to do my research on them and sort of work out who they are as players. So that kept me pretty busy all the way. So Paul says he's happy with the selections, but would like to see Callaway get a chance. Yeah, I'm a bit shocked on that one. I don't know about anybody else. I really thought we would have taken him at the rookie pick just to get him a bit cheaper. I was quite shocked that we actually didn't take him whatsoever. I'm guessing maybe they want to do the SSP selection. And I thought you could automatically category B rookie take him, but quite surprising, we didn't take him that way. How you doing, widescreen? This balance is great. Yeah, I definitely agree. We took players with the highest project. Yeah, which I know some people don't take everybody else's ranking into as the Bible, but Dylan Alexander actually had Sam Grill ranked. I think he said ranked 5 out of the whole entire draft. So I don't know if you guys watched the Dan Does Footy podcast. It was Ollie, Alex was there, and Xander Maguire was there as well. And Dylan was quite happy and was very happy that we actually took him. I think the whole idea of the list balance, it was definitely what we did at the draft. We went after a very specific need, and that was a lot of speed. And I don't just speed. Like anyone, you can have players that are fast, but doesn't mean they know how to play football. A lot of the players we still drafted can still kick really well, and also they have endurance. So they're not just a bit of a slow runner. Like they can't just have little bursts and that's it. Like Dylan Alexander said that. Oh, Alexander Dillon, sorry, said that Sam Grill was a bit of a rarity in the player that he actually is, because he's not just that he can run the 2K time trial quick, but he also has a really good sprint. So he's a bit of a hybrid athlete considering what he can do, which is really good, which is what you want to hear, that we haven't just got a generic one-way runner sort of thing, but he can actually go both ways. So I thought we will talk about them, look at some of the analyzing of Rookie Me Central. So I'll jump the first one up. And here I actually have, if you guys can see it all, this will be Sam's Cummings one. So I'll actually try and see if I can, that too slow. I want to try and zoom in a bit. So we can actually look at the athletics, the on-field sort of thing. I don't want the video go away. So Ariel, he's above average. So it's just really cool. I like it. It sort of breaks down who they are as an athletic player, as well as on the field. So the aerial and agility is above average, which is good to see. Endurance is average. Now, like I've said on many of my videos when doing them, endurance one I'm not too fussed, because you're going to build the tank as they get older. Dusty was a prime example. He had a really small tank when he started. It was probably one of his biggest weaknesses, that he couldn't really run out a full game. But over time and pre-seasons, he definitely built his tank. Speed's above average, which I definitely agree. I think, as I recall, I actually have it on the rookie draft tracker. So he ran in the 20-meter sprint. He actually ran a 2.97 in the 20-meter sprint, which is quite high considering Sam Grill run, I think, was like a 2.92. So they're not ridiculously too far off each other in the sprinting aspect. So it is good to see that it's still addressing a need. Yeah, I like to keen to see who was rated third. I reckon that would the third rating player. I reckon it's Xavier Taylor. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people are really keen on Dyson Sharp. They just think he's that ready-made 200 player. But I think the biggest reason why he made it to pick 13 is because of his speed and his endurance. You can have, like, he could have been a great endurance player, and then the speed wouldn't have seemed to be as bad. Like Harvey Langford, he doesn't have the greatest in speed, but his endurance, he just goes all day. So I think that's why he wasn't there. Where Xavier Taylor is a rarity, sort of a rarity as well. They don't think that there may be one or two of them in next year's draft, which that's a long way away. So I'm not overly fussed. We can worry about that next year. But so I was just keen on Sam Cumming the most. I think just because he's proved that he can play against grown men as well. So how's that? Hopefully we have a free spot for Lewis. Well, technically we do, because we didn't take a rookie spot. So I think it will be the SSP spot, or I think they'll try and category B rookie him, or they'll get him to sign to the VFL and then talk about a mid-season draft for Lewis Callaway, which I was still quite shocked they didn't take him. I know that they traded back in to get Noah Robert Thomas, I think that's how you pronounce it. So that was a bit of a shock as well. And then they just ended up bidding and making a couple of clubs pay for their players. So that was quite funny as well. So we'll go back to Cumming anyway and keep going with him. So then his speed and strength is quite high. And if you guys have watched Footy and Stuff highlights, you'll see that his speed is a lot more, I think it looks like he's got a lot more speed in than I actually thought. And then the strength, I definitely agree. There was a couple of games when he was playing for North Adelaide that he was shoving off grown men and just blowing past them all as well. So ceiling was elite, which I definitely agree. I think that he could be, as Michael has said a few times, he could be the best player in the draft. I kind of do get those vibes where he could be the best player in the draft as well. Consistency average, contested average, and disposal average. I think most players come in and their average disposals aren't super. So it shows you here that he's projected between 5 and 10. So getting him at pick 7 was probably the spot right on. I do agree Sam Cumming probably would have been drafted a lot higher if he didn't hurt his shoulder, because he hurt his shoulder. I can't remember what game it was, but he did a shoulder and then he was out for most of the season because he had played through the Coates comp and then he went back to playing in South Australia. And then he went into the seniors to play for North Adelaide. He had a game, I think it was 21 disposals and 3 goals. They lost, but he definitely brought him back into the game a few times. And I ended up watching the other day. I thought it's time to get some study into him. And he's got a really good Isaac Heaney about him, where he can go play in the middle, be really dominant, but he can go forward and has a good vertical leap, really good pair of hands to mark the ball overhead. So that would really did excite me. So he can show you for his career for under 18s, obviously. North Adelaide, South Australia, averaged 17 disposals, 3.5 mark, which is good. Disposal effectiveness, it was 76%. I think that's definitely will eventually go up a little bit higher with a sort of doing this all day, every day. Inside 50s was 3. So he actually was in another one I looked at for goals per game, he was actually classified as an elite goal kicker, which was really good. The strengths are competitiveness, power, scoreboard impact, consistency, and overhead marking, like I said, and his work rate. He's just a workhorse. And obviously, kicking technique and outside game was good. The one thing I will say they probably don't have on here is it says kicking technique. But at the same time, if you watch his highlights, he can kick on his left foot just as probably good as he can on his right as well. So, yeah, I was quite happy with that as well. I think West Coast would have picked him if he played like I said, I'm pretty high on him. A fair few people were. I think if he did play a whole season, that he would have gone, maybe he could have even gone number 1. He could have been better than Will Dersma. And I did see that Ryan Geeshan did say that that he was playing against men when he was 14. Even when he was 17, playing against I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Sturt seniors. They were actually lining him up to try and take him out. They were hitting him pretty hard. So that was a definitely a different sort of player. And it's crazy to think that at 14 you're playing seniors. So we'll switch to Grill now, and we'll have a little discussion about Grill. So I just saw widescreen TVs. Was that so? His kicking technique is strange, but it goes to Rice. But yeah, and even the commentator said on the I think it was a Sturt game when he was actually starting to dominate, that he generally, when he kicks the ball, it generally hits his targets anyway. Even on his left and right, it gets in the vicinity. I've also seen a few when he was playing under 18s. He was kicking to where he wanted the player to actually get the ball instead of the whole, I kick it and then you have to wait 3-4 seconds and it gives that defender enough time to get up and actually spoil. So that was a really good one. I think it's a progress. And look, everyone will say they're not good kicks and they need to improve their kicking. Every player who comes into the draft system after being drafted, so into the AFL, will need to get better at kicking anyway. So there are very few Josh Lindsays and Jacob Farrows that are just floating around that just luckily they get to have that super rare kick. So look, it is what it is, unfortunately, but it's not the worst thing in the world as well. So we'll do that. I really don't like how it does that to me. No, I'm going the wrong way now. There we go. Nope, that's... No, he haven't done, which I'm quite surprised he didn't get drafted. So that was a different one. All right, so we'll go on to the Sizzler. I think this was probably maybe people would say this might have been the biggest shock of the night. I was pretty confident in my opinion that we were going to take Sullivan Roby. I definitely did want it. I can understand why they didn't take. I can understand why they didn't take Roby. If you guys remember watching the interview with Cal Toomey, so he had said that Sam Grill, Xavier Taylor, and Sam Cumming, they've actually been tracking them for 2 years. And that was a bit of a key information for me. When you're tracking these players for 2 years, which means you sort of know what they're projecting. You're going after a certain type of player. So they knew even before last year's draft, they knew what the next stage of drafting was going to be. And that's exciting as a recruiting team. I think we may have the best recruiting team in the AFL. I know this is a Richmond channel, so it's probably slightly biased, but it definitely seems like that. But they didn't say that they had been following Sullivan Roby for the 2 years, which was a bit of a red flag for me. I actually even made a tweet, if that's what you call it these days, or an X post, that I was getting nervous that we weren't going to draft Sullivan Roby. And then I asked the question, am I just overthinking because it's the draft and Richmond's trying to make its way back up? A lot of people said, you're overthinking, we're going to take Sullivan Roby. In the end, yeah, we didn't take Sullivan Roby. So my fear of what was going on was right. And I think it's the whole, he just appeared in the 6 weeks out of nowhere. Not 6, 12. He had a really good, and he did have a good earlier years. You just didn't know because he was playing for Rowville seniors, not in the Coates League. So it was a lot less limelight on him as well. So I think it was the whole, we got the Lawler and Smiley last year. We don't want to take another big body mid that hasn't showed consistency, where Lawler, Smiley, and all that sort of showed a consistent juniors between 16, 17, and obviously their last year as well. So, and like Sam Cumming was Sam Cumming, I think he was actually ended up being all Australian. He also was a captain as well. He won the last year for South Australia. When he was underage, he actually won the best and fairest for the comp. I think this year he got runners up as well. I think he polled quite well in the couple of games he played for North Adelaide as well. So it just shows you that he was sort of built, ready to go, and Roby was just that burst. I don't think it was the risks they wanted to take. So that was the biggest one, definitely the biggest shock for me of the night. But I liked it because it really threw the draft on its head. Like you guys will probably agree. It was all going the way Cal had it planned. I think every club sort of, okay, cool. And then it was Richmond had taken Sam Grill. And it felt like a lot of clubs went, oh, shit, what are we doing now? Because this is not what we thought was going to happen. We thought it was going to be plan A, B, C. We didn't think of plan D. So I liked it, and I liked that Richmond made the other clubs bid. So we'll move on back onto Grill. So as you can see, he's aerial. He's actually classified above average, which is fine. He's not meant to be that aerial type player. But then you look at his ability, agility, endurance. I would think it'd be higher than average, considering you see him. He can just go and go and go. Speed is elite, which is great. Great. We probably do need it. So I will have to get up the draft tracker for Sam Grill, so I can look at his actually, because it actually has on here the times for what they did at their combine. So Sam Grill showed his top end mix of speed and endurance. So it's funny how endurance is a big one, but it's only above average. The draft combine, the Sizzler, I think I love that. I think if he has any those real big gains, they need to have a sign where you build, it says you've been grilled by the Sizzler. So in the 2K time trial, he actually ended up finishing second with a 5 minute and 59 seconds. And then he also finished in the top 10 with the 20-meter sprint with a 2.92 seconds, which is quite elite for sprinting as well. I think people said once you getting pushing towards that low 8 bits, that it's classified as elite. And then considering he's a dual athlete with endurance and then the short sprinting, it's quite rare. Strength, which is average, which didn't surprise me as well. I think he relies on a lot of his speed. Consistency is average, contested average, and disposals average. I'm not sure it's that bad, but he did say that he was a bit worried that he wasn't going to get drafted a year ago, so he explained why he was crying. He's projected to go so between 5 and 12. So if you think about that, why everyone was so shocked that he jumped up to, was it number pick 8? Well, it's in the draft projection for Rookie Me Central. They're saying he's probably spot on in the middle, so didn't surprise me. Average disposals was 17, 2.5 marks. Disposals, 72%. Inside 50s, 2. Rebounding of 1.5. Question is to you guys, where do we think Sam Grill and Sam Cumming will play round 1? And if they do, where do you think they play? That's another good one. So his strengths are competitiveness, line breaking, dare, running power, speed, and evasiveness. I definitely agree on the evasiveness. Seems to have a really good sidestep or knowing when to step and they're willing to take on it. There's a few highlights in his juniors where he gets the ball from halfback, gets it, handballs it, and goes again and goes again. So the effort's there for that go again, not that sort of handball, my job's done, and we move on. So definitely happy with Sam Grill. It's weird how it changed because there was a stage where they were just saying that Grill was going to be going to Richmond, and that was it. No one else really had spoke about Sam Grill. It seemed like it was Richmond and Richmond only. There was no reports of Essendon. I didn't hear much about Essendon. I didn't hear much about the D's. Were the D's keen on him going? It was just a really, really quiet for a player who's actually a really talented player. So I was a bit shocked on that. But I'm asking you guys, what do you actually think? Do you think he actually plays round 1? If he does, whose spot does he take? Because I'm not sure who he takes as well. Shane is short of the halfback is the only one I can think of, unless he plays a wing. I can see Sam Cumming playing as a half forward because he can do it. It's actually a half. Hawks. Well, there you go. So widescreen. I didn't see. Did this actually happen, or is this Hawks offered 10, 22, and something else for Grill? Well, I'm very surprised Richmond said no to that, if that's actually true, if you think about that, because I got the actual draft tracker, so I can actually tell you who was available. So if we had picked 10, we would have been... So where did 10 slide out to? They ended up trading that to the Giants. So you had Oscar Taylor was out there, Lockie Doverston was there, Josh Lindsay. You could have had all those. Number 9. That's an early call, mate. Number 9. Yeah, I reckon that's safe for Josh Smiley on the number 9 factor. I definitely do. I think they see him as a future captain. Obviously, you need to get his body right, but Mortal Wombat was happy with the evening overall. Yeah, I think it was great because they addressed a need. That was the whole thing. they picked what they actually needed for the club and going forward. Like most people are saying now, last year we got Lawler Smart, which is your two big mids, inside mids. Obviously, Lord can go half forward, kick your goals. He's very good at that. Lawler's an elite kick as well. Smiley not so much quite there yet. Then you got Jonty Ford, which is your centre half forward. I don't think he's a full forward. I think he's that Nick Rebolt, Jack Rebolt-esque type of forward where he can roam up the ground and mark it and bring it forward. I think he's just a bit more or an athlete. Harry Armstrong is your full forward. Luke Trainer, it will eventually be your intercepting half back. When Broad goes or Nick Vlostone goes, that's the spots I think he'll take. And then we got Tom Sims as your backup ruck. Not sure how that's going to work. It's been reports of him talking about making him a full-time ruck. I'm not sure if he can do it. And then Jasper Alger, he's been trading the house down. I just think Jasper Alger will be that half forward as well. But with Sam Cumming, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes Tyler Sonsy's spot in that half forward. I think Sonzy might be in a lot of trouble. And like Widescreen TV even says here, I think we did the best. They took the best players as well, but it makes it right here competitive sports. Now you have to be really hard to get a spot in our club, which is crazy considering we finished second last. And you're like, oh, now it's going to be hard for teams to get or players to get a game. So you're going to have to be on your A game at all times. Otherwise, you're not going to stay in because we do have quite a good amount of talent. Oh, I even forgot Taj Houghton. Taj Houghton will be that Shane Edwards sort of Shea Bolton, 40% middle, 60% forward, just about that magic. So it's hard to say. And then, as you were saying about, I didn't see that. Where did that get reported? Do you know, Widescreen? I've not seen that at all. I've seen the talks about what some offered for Essendon's. Essendon offered up Adelaide offered a fair bit up for Adelaide so they can get Dyson Sharp from the Bombers. I heard it was like this year's first round, next year's first round, and maybe like a second, and then they would trade back a third. I can see why the Essendon didn't do. He's an Essendon supporter growing up anyway, so it's not a big deal. But I want Callaway as well. I think he'll improve easy in the system. I'm just shocked they didn't take him at a rookie. And I was pretty confident they could have selected him as a category B. So I'm not sure why they decided not to do that either. Like I thought that would be an easy, straight up, just if we can sign him as a category B, we will. Maybe they still will. Maybe they have to wait until after the draft. I'm not sure. It's a bit of a weird one. Okay, on the draft day, apparently. Before the draft. Okay, so they knew that there was a high chance Richmond was going to take Sam Grill on the Hawks. But that was the one thing. I think that's the only club that really was also talking to get Grill. He hasn't mentioned that there's any other clubs talking to him. I haven't seen that, but I did hear they were saying if Grill didn't go to Richmond, that there was a chance that he would slide all the way down to the Hawks and Hawks would take him. No, the question for there, when you say you don't think he was the best available, question is what board are you looking at? Like that's the thing. You can have your board. There's 18 clubs and everyone has their own board on where they rank players. And like I'm not saying everyone is gospel on how they have it, but Dylan Alexander had him as number 5, and he had Jonty Fall last year as number 5, and look at how Jonty Fall turned out. So it just shows you that everyone has a different ranking on where they think these players are ranked. Now, are they ranked because of their play? Maybe not. Maybe our club ranks each player individually by position, or a need basis. This is a need, so what is our need, and this is how we rank them. So, like, it's very hard to say who would have been ranked. Or technically, it's weird because technically we had pick 3 and 4, and somehow it ended up being pick 7 and 8. And I did see Ryan Gishan did say he was quite angry about that, so I definitely understand from that point of view. But it is confusing. Yeah, but it's true. We have a lot of players who can play in multiple positions now. And look, isn't that what we're meant to do? Are we not meant to? I don't agree on just drafting a player that's just sort of like a one position. Like some are, yeah, if their talent is ridiculous. Sorry. I didn't realize it. But I can think last year. I think of the last few years of recruiting contributes to a very good balance group. Yeah, so you are right. So, yeah, you were probably spot on to what I was saying. You don't think he was best available. But do we need to take best available at that second pick? Do you think we should have? Is that just the need, that second pick? Did we all think that? Because we had 2 picks. Do you take best available in the first pick, and then the next one is a need base? So maybe that's. But I had him ranked in the top 10. So the question is, if you didn't take Sam Grill, who's the next best player? And pretty much the next best players after that were all big body mids. I'm not sure if we need any more big body mids. Like, you've got Kane McCall, you've got Sam Lawler and Josh Smiley. Like, that's 3 big body mids as well. So it is quite complicated to decide what you want to pick and who you want to pick at what spot. Yeah, I do agree on that. With the whole dual position players, I hope this year we start to see them actually doing that, because you can't always have Hopper and Taranto always dominating the midfield. It just has to change. It's not working. I know maybe it's a part of the game plan right now. It's just to breathe, let the kids breathe into the positions and give them a chance to work themselves out in the AFL system. Maybe not as bad now for Lawler and Smiley. They've had a year in the system as well. But like you're saying, like with Taranto, Lawler, Houghton, Campbell, Morris Riley Jr., definitely a good spot there. He definitely can play a lot of different positions. Cumming, Grill, and Luke Traynor. You can add Smile into that mix. Kane McCall can do it as well. I think he's a very good thing for the whole dual position sort of as well. Jaden Short, Sam Banks, like even Tom Brown and Josh Gibcus. Looking at a lot of our players can play in different spots as well and be good at it as well. So it's going to make it very hard to get a game as well. I find a 9-game sample size pretty crazy to have. Yeah, well, yeah, it's true. I'm assuming you're talking about Sullivan Roby, the whole short sample, and that's why I think Richmond didn't take him. It's like, well, it's a short sample size, but also he wasn't on anybody's radar. And I was saying it before that Ryan Geeshan, obviously our manager, was saying that they had been tracking Xavier Taylor, Grill, and Cumming for over 2 years now. So that could be a good factor as well. They don't want to take a punt on potential. And some people will probably say about the same thing about Lawler, that Lawler was a high upside. We hadn't seen much of a sample, but Sam Lawler was a very dominant junior player, and he also never had a full preseason. So it's quite insane that, as good as Lawler is, he's only having his proper first full preseason. It was last year. Obviously, then he got his broken jaw, so even that preseason was sort of manipulated as well. So this year will be his first full one. I'm not sure what he's doing for the whole preseason. Is it he's slightly modified because of his hamstring? But it's hard to tell. So we'll move on to widescreen. Would you say? And we took best available upside. Sharp was the best player available, though. Is he? I just don't know if he was best available for us in the where we are now as a club. Did we need a Dyson Sharp? It's hard, and some of his weaknesses were a glaring sort of. Sharp to me is a Hopper and Taranto. I'm just not sure if we need another one. And I'm not sure if you were to take him, if you don't play him the first 2 years, say you just want to give him a chance to develop because you have a Taranto and Hopper, does he then end up cracking the shits because you've left him in the reserves for 2 years and struggles to get a game because of what you've already got and then wants to go home? So I could see that sort of point of view as well. So it's definitely could be a factor as the whole go-home factor because it's not Essendon. So the fact that we had so many multiple position players means our engine room would be balanced, except controlling territory. And I think the territory and the ball moving will be a lot better now because they will have addressed the speed, which was what you're saying now, a lot smoother and faster. We were a bit more of an issue with the half-back to middle to forward connection. So hopefully this year it's a bit more of a smoother transition as well. Yeah, I do understand, and don't get me wrong, he won pretty much every award. I think he may even hold the record for the most awards won by a junior. So, look, would have loved I think maybe we would have taken him if we were like Essendon and we had the capability of getting another pick, but we didn't. So we sort of just have to kind of go with what we've got. We didn't get a chance to get another pick, so it's sort of just it is what it is. It's really, isn't it? So yeah, I think I don't think Sharp will go home. I just don't. He's an Essendon supporter. He grew up his whole entire life supporting Essendon. So, who's going to go home from the club that they grew up watching their whole entire life? So I really think that's going to be a deterrent for the whole go home factor for him when he's actually playing for the club that he grew up barracking for. If I'm Essendon, I'm not freaked out about Sharp wanting to go home. He's playing for the club that he grew up watching, probably James Hird and Matthew Lloyd and Dyson Heppel. I'm just thinking, I'm not really big on Essendon's radar of knowing who they all played, who they've had. So in terms of sliding from 3 to 7 and 8, if you include the comps, we lost points value, to 6. Yeah, it's hard. I'm hoping next year will be a lot harder. I know they're going to change the rules to the whole, what is it? You have to have 2 picks, and that's all you can use it on. If you don't have the points in between those 2 picks, it doesn't matter. The only one I don't want them to mess with is father and son. I just think if you got a father and son, maybe you just don't put them in the draft combine. If they nominate their father, their club to go to because they're a father and son, then you just don't put them in the draft, because then it doesn't compromise the draft. It's still taking that talent out of it, but you're not taking, what Richmond had picked, 3 and 4. We should have been able to pick up Dylan Patterson and Cooper Duff-Tyler and Zeke Ewan. They all should have been for us. So it's not really the best and fairest or the fairest draft. It doesn't even the game out for anyone. So, yeah, Roby was from Roeville. I think his ties were pumped. Yeah. It's hard because he was impressive as well. It wasn't like he did it for 2 weeks. He did it for a good over 2 and a bit months. So I could definitely see his ties were pumped up, but it might work out for him. It might not, but hopefully it doesn't, and then it just shows that Richmond made the right decision. Yeah, that's the whole flash in a pan sort of thing. Is it not enough, a bit of footwork to track him how he is through his whole career, to sort of work him out, to make the club feel better that they're making the right decision as well. Yeah, but he didn't need Sharp. Yeah, look, I said it's the same thing. I think he's similar to Taranto and Hopper, and it's just not something else we need in our club right now, as much as I would want his talent. He's a very dominant player. Where did our pick go? I was just trying to look at Zander. There you go. I've got some of the stuff up for Zander. We'll talk about him in a minute as well. So it was only I just saw it there. I saw a footy and stuff video of Roby match with all the possessions. I'm glad we did avoid him, to be honest. Yeah, look, it's hard to say. And it's hard to say on all these players. That's another one I like to always point out, that we can't ever guarantee every single one of these players are going to turn out being the perfect player. Seems like last year we hit on a lot of the picks, so not even guarantee we hit on any of them this year. So Port Adelaide would already be lying for Sharp's family. Yeah, fair enough. Got to do what you can to win as well. Father and son is worse than academy. Yeah. But you look at the Dacos and Ashcroft boys, look how talented they are. So you can't really say it's worse, because it's produced maybe the father and sons produce better players than the academies have. So, one of them has already won 2 premierships and a Norm Smith, and the other son of the what's his name, was Ashcroft. Levi was a running premiership player in his first year. So even the Dacos are running premierships as well. So I think the father and sons produced better players than this bullshit Northern Academy stuff. So look, I get me wrong. I think the academies need to go, mainly for the factor that it's proving that it doesn't work. It does for the clubs that were getting it, not for everybody else. Like this year, they had the Gold Coast Suns had pick 15 and 18, and then they traded them away and was still somehow able to get 4 picks in the top 20. And bring in Christian Petrarca as well. So, yeah, it's not working. It's not making any sense. Then in the last 4 years in a row, I think it is 3 or 4 years in a row, Brisbane have won a premiership or been in the finals, or a grand final, and also got a play in the top 5. And then next year, Cal Toomey dropped his late another top 10 for next year's draft prospects, and in the 4th position is a Brisbane Lions Academy player. So it's just showing you again that the system is just not working. Brisbane can keep pumping at these players. And I've seen a few Brisbane fan bases go, oh, well, we pay for them. You don't pay for them. The AFL does. The AFL gives you the money to pay for the academy. So I just think the AFL needs to take over the academies and go, well, it's a free-for-all now. Your father and son's the only things you can have. And people say, oh, I also saw the Gold Coast go, well, you rated us Gold Coast when we were doing it. No, they did Prestia one, was they brought up, well, we trade you pick 6 for Prestia. And Prestia at the time was too injured. And he wasn't even playing that much anyway. So there's arguments for both ways of the academies and father and the sons. So it's just up in the air, in my opinion, as well. Yeah, I don't know. He might not want to go. He's already at training with Melbourne, Xavier. Like he could. He might want to go back to sort of Jack Higgins did it. He wanted to leave Richmond to go to St Kilda. Obviously, a little bit more opportunity, but he also wanted to go and play for the club that he grew up supporting. So that one can be very up in the air about things as well. So, yeah, there was a game I saw and was the video of Roeville. They showed Roby wasn't that good. Yeah, well, it's weird. I think the growth spurt's what's sort of maybe put people off or got people keen on him. I don't know, because he still plays like a predominant small forward, even though he's not a small forward whatsoever. So, father and son is a way of the bigger rot. Yeah, the only club to have won a flag in the last decade without a father and son. Yeah. Sort of, yeah, which I get it, but not. Unfortunately, Richmond just hasn't had any. St Kilda hasn't had any. There's just not. Unfortunately, Collingwood and Brisbane have just been very lucky, and Geelong sort of in a way as well. Well, we did get Matthew Richardson out of father and son, so can't complain too much on that. Just all the other ones haven't really worked out. Hopefully, maybe Callaway does. You just never know. So yeah, last year we had to go full agent. Well, next year, yeah. It's a good question. Next year, we're going to go full agents. We must have humans. Well, that was a question I've been wanting to be asked for people that might have some sort of information. Dusty retired, so that's going on 2 years now. We haven't had his 1.5. Lynch just went from his 1.5 million to now down to maybe it would be, say, at least $500,000. Shea Bolton left his $1.1 million contract behind. Grimes retired, Jack, Trent, all these players retired. So what are we doing at St Kilda? Do you guys think that Richmond is doing the whole, we'll do 3 years of draft? I think you can only hold on to that money for 3 years, and then you got to spend it. Is Richmond doing the whole, we'll save up the money? Because I hope what you can do what Saints did was you build up the money, and then you can say you have $5 million. We want to pay a player $1 million a year over 5 years, and then you give them that money you had set aside. It doesn't touch the actual payroll you already have because you've just banked that money up. Would Richmond do that, and who would you go after? I don't have the list of free agents next year. Zach Butters will be one. I'm just not sure if he's going to want to, unless Richmond shows some signs that this year, well, season 2026, Richmond showed, that we actually are working our way up the ladder. And do we even, that's a question I would have is, do we even need Zach Butters right now? So, all right, so you got Archie Butler, Harry Van Hatherm, I can't say, Archie Van Dyke. I've seen that one. I want to watch for next year for the draft. So that's from How's That, who actually I will say he's been pretty spot on with his information when he's actually given me some names or some players to keep an eye out on. I would definitely say that he's done quite well on the names. He was very high on Latrell Pickett, and he ended up going pick 12 to the D's with his cousin, who was picked 12 as well. So, yeah, next year we do. Yeah, next year we have a couple of father and sons coming up. I think they will change the rule next year. They haven't officially confirmed they will be doing it, but I think the whole will be the whole 2 picks. I definitely think I think our father and sons will be a second round or third rounds. I'm not quite sure they're going to be that sort of Nick Dacos with it, but that high up Nick Dacos sort of Ashcroft twins or boys where they were in that top 5. I know we have Tanner Armstrong, who's some say he's top 15, some say he's outside the 20s. So it's hard to say. And then the Cody Walker one is another one So you guys remember Cody Walker's an NGA prospect through Richmond, and obviously father and son. He can't officially nominate to go to Carlton until next year. So there is a world where he could decide to change his mind if he sees that the ship of Carlton hasn't got better from last year, from this year. So is there a world where he says, "Oh, Dad, I don't want to go to Carlton. I know you played there, but it's just all falling apart. So let's go to Richmond," where I think Michael said it. There was an interview with information leaked to him that he said that he had wished Carlton was more like Richmond. I think it would make his decision a lot easier, but it's up in the air. And he's going to be picked 2 or 3. And if you go off anything off this year, Richmond might still have pick 1 to 3. So I think Richmond will be stupid to not bid on the top Dougie. I think it's Cochrane's son, or his last name's Cochrane. Port Adelaide just got as an NGA prospect, and Cody Walker. I would think Richmond would bid on him anyway. So I would think it's smart to do that as well. Make them all pay max if we're not going to get him. So all we need is another club ruckman / forward. So I don't think we need another full forward. I think our forward stock is probably quite high. The ruck, I definitely agree on. I know there is top. I know everyone's going to say don't draft a ruckman in the top 10. There is in Cal's top 10. There was. I think he was ranked 7. I can't remember his name. I could probably get it up in a minute. But he was ranked top 10 as a ruckman as well. He's 202 centimeters at 16. So 16 going on 17. So he could grow to 205, 206 and be a proper size ruckman. I'm just not sure if that's going to suit what Richmond wants. But then with the ruck rules coming in, it definitely could change it as well. So it's hard to say. Luke Bruce will be an acquisition, for a decade with his core kids learning off him. Yeah, it is true with along with Flosso. I'm assuming Prestia, once he's done this year, will switch straight to it. He could even retire halfway through the year to give another sort of what Greg did, give Richmond another list spot in the mid-season to pick somebody up and then go straight to coaching. Kane Lambert sort of did it as well. Broad's last year as well, so that's does he go into coaching or does he step away from it and does he go back to South Australia? You never know as well. Another 2 years, I'm not sure how much more drafting they'll do. If they do, I don't think it's going to be heavy. I don't think Richmond will do much heavy drafting. I think they'll just sort of whatever they've got as a pick, and then that's it. If they don't get anything else, then they get nothing else. I don't think we need to go heavy on the draft really anymore. I think we've done quite a fair bit of heavy draft picking. So who knows? And it's Richard. I trust in Blair. We trust. Everybody always will say because it is true. So, Daffy. I think he's going to be good as well. They've shown some signs. So hopefully not all of them popped too much, and it makes it very hard to see. Yeah, that was funny. I did say that. Grill was wondering what the hell Luke was talking about. Then he realized he's like, "Oh, should you coach? You're a coach at Richmond now." I think it was the outfit that he was wearing, where most of the time they're used to seeing all the Richmond officials wearing the Richmond shirt. And Luke Bruce was just wearing a nice button-up shirt with some nice jeans as well. So I think maybe that's what threw him out. But it was probably a whirlwind for him as well. Like they even said it, it's been a pretty full-on day for him. It's started early in the day, a bit nervous, waiting all day, and then all of a sudden you're like, bang, you're getting drafted, you go somewhere. And Richmond held it quite well, the cards to their chest this year. And a lot of clubs said they just didn't know what Richmond was doing. So it was good to hear that sort of Richmond seemed to be maybe the best drafting club right now. They seem to be building a list properly. Sort of, I don't like to knock other clubs, but North Melbourne was the prime example. And Dylan says it every time when he's talking about draft. You can't do a North Melbourne where you just keep getting in midfielders, and then that's in one type where they just keep getting the same type of midfielders. And they're not dual position, where Richmond will get 2 types of midfielders the exact same. So now Lawler and Smiley, different types, because Smiley's 196 maybe now. Lawler's like 100, I think he's 190, probably pushing it. But one can go forward, so that's the thing. Lawler can go forward and kick. But they sort of didn't really do that with North Melbourne. They just kept getting the same one. They didn't draft backmen, they didn't draft forwards, they didn't draft wingers. So where Richmond sort of have gone off, you're building a team out of these drafts, and that's what Blair said. We're building the next premiership team, so you can't just pick best available every time. You've got to pick best available maybe for a need or a position. So will we get Callaway this year? Yeah, well, I hope we do. I'd be shocked if they didn't. I'd really be shocked. My guessing is they're trying to put him on a Category B rookie spot. Or it's the VFL sort of way. They want to put him under the VFL for a year, give him a chance to learn the ropes, and then maybe mid-season draft him, or sign him up next year. Well, look, he could definitely go back and get drafted again next year because Latrell Pickett did it. He got drafted. He was 20, I think he's 19 going on 20. So, he was playing for Glenelg in the South Australia League, playing in the reserves, which is their senior version, but he wasn't a straight out of school player. So yeah, that's right. Cool widescreen. Yeah, then Hatton, he was the ruckman. Yeah, he's 202 centimeters right now, so there's a good chance he grows, say 4 more centimeters or even 3. It's 205, which is definitely a need for us. Or do we just trade for a ruckman? Because there are plenty of ruckmen floating around in the VFL or Sanford, Waffle that just aren't getting games that sort of could for us. Nate Curvis is a prime prospect right now as well. So Essendon got one in Jacob Farrow, I think they say it. But hopefully we get a deal done with what we got. Yeah, I think he was too high for us to take him. I think people were shocked that we took him. We took him that high as well. That he would have gone to us. So it's hard because I know that Cal Toomey said that there was talks of Richmond were keen on him. I'm just not sure that's smoke and mirrors as well. That Richmond seemed to be playing some good smoke and mirrors. Yeah, that one annoyed me. I was pretty keen on Sam Allen. I know he's coming off an ACL, but he was an uber athlete, like a ridiculously super duper good athlete. So, I think it was the one before us. So they had picked 29. We had picked 31. So, Melbourne took Thomas Matthew, and then it was our pick. So wasn't far off our pick as well, but who knows? It would have been nice. But it was crazy because I was keen on Hunter Holmes. Like even Javan Phillip was there. Jack Dalton was there. Noah Hibbins-Hargrave. I don't think, did he even get taken in the draft or even the rookie draft? It's just some of the players that slid, like even Oliver Greaves slid out into the rookie draft, which was very surprising as well. So we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Look, what I mean by we won't trade up to get more picks is what I'm saying. We're not going to try and do what we did this year and last year. I think we'll just take the picks we have and just build up. And where that pick falls, it would just be off how we play. Look, I know we won 5 games this year. I'm hoping for 5 or 6, maybe repeat it, maybe even go 7. Like we could have won 7 this year. Just a couple of small young errors that definitely can sway towards us winning more games. So you take 2. If we could win 6, 7 games next year, it's slightly more every year. Or it's win 5 games, but you score higher and we're just in games a lot longer. You don't necessarily have to win more. You just need to show that the path we're taking is the right one, because the moment we sort of see a regression, they're going to talk about sacking Uze. Everyone will. They'll do it real quick. You watch. Unfortunately, it's just the way of the jungle in the AFL is that if you don't show enough progress or consistent progress, that the fans will just turn around and say, nah, like it's not the right coach. And there has been a few times this year where they said he wasn't the right coach. And it was like second year in, 2024 really wasn't his team. There was too many players that had checked out and wanting to leave. So this year, I think I really count Uze's first year as well. So as Callaway's a father and son, can't we? Well, I thought you could. See, I thought we definitely could just automatically category B him as well. And Matt Clean is gone as well, so we should have a spot. So maybe it just takes a bit of a while as well. Michael's been quiet since passing on. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Michaels might have some information, or he doesn't. Like it's hard. He doesn't have to tell us what he knows, but yeah, he did his live that night. He might not do one until Monday, and maybe on Monday he will bring it up, and he might have information he wants to share, but he might wait over the weekend as well. So it's just it's hard to say. They did say. Like Richmond did say they weren't guaranteeing they were going to pick him as well. I just thought maybe the hope was that he would either make it A to our last pick, which was 61, or B, they were going to make him wait to the rookie draft and then just take him at the pick 2 straight away, because the rookie draft is cheaper, so you don't have to put much money in. And money doesn't matter. You just don't have that. Money's not an issue for the club. Like, that's definitely one. That's not our problem. We're about to bloody sell games to Tassie just to get some more money to finish our renovations. So wait and see on our ruckman, as things may change on what we need. Yeah, with the new centre bounce could definitely change the ruck type of. I'm guessing you mean the type of ruckman we go after. I think it's going to start to go towards. I think this rules will favour Max Gawn quite well. You don't have to be this big, bulky, lumbering ruckman where you're going to kind of have to use your muscle to force them. Now you're going to have to use more of that leaping ability to get up and tap it. Maybe it brings back the actual tap work as well, which then makes the centre clearances a lot better and maybe a lot more cooler to see. Used to the days where they used to do that little tap, the player gets the ball and it's just a clean dash out. So who knows? It's hard to say. And then this last touch rule is sort of an iffy one in the air as well on how sort of that whole system's going to work as well. So it's a bit of up in the air with a few of these rule changes as well. So I want to beat Carlton twice. Imagine being the bunny. Yeah, I would just think at least round 1. I think round 1 again. If we beat Carlton round 1 again, I think it just sets up the season like last year did as well. I think it just at the tone is what I mean by it set up the season. It was like, okay, well, Richmond aren't getting pushovers because everyone said it was maybe we wouldn't win a game at all. And I think beating Carlton showed people that the system is working, and next year's system will be different because they'll implement different stages of speed. Adam's already said it a few times. This is all about speed now. It's hitting the packs, going hard. Make a mistake, it's okay. Like, obviously doing this at training, but they're perfecting the speed right now before they even start the season. So maybe we'll see a bit more pace going into it, because there are a few moments during the season where we would do that. You could see the players would take on the game and use their speed and dash, and then we'd shy away from it again. So it's hard to say on that, but round 1 would be perfect. I just think if we could beat them round 1, make me so happy. You get the whole, I don't know how it's happened, but for years it's been, Richmond and Carlton. Richmond don't deserve to have the opening. Obviously, it's not opening round anymore. Richmond don't deserve to have the round 1 game. It's just not a good game. But every time we've won, and it's like, well, maybe it's meant to be Carlton who doesn't deserve to have the round 1 game, because Richmond always seems to bring their A game when it comes to round 1. There's been some really good games. Like last year, just as a prime example of that, why we should be the first game. I don't want to swear on screen. Piss off round 0. I don't agree to it. If you're going to do it, at least commit to it properly. And then stop having these buys every 3 weeks afterwards, because then you have 36% of the season is affected by buys. Just have whoever plays round 0 gets a rest, that gets the first break of the mid-season, and then the other half that didn't play gets the second break. Bloody work this out pretty easily. It's not rocket science. I really think we just employ in the AFL silly people who just want to find ways to spend money. Callaway's not being picked up makes me think that there are standards aren't reached. Yeah, look, it's possible that's maybe what they see, or maybe they want to get him in a different way. It will be a wait and tell. Unfortunately, because the rookie was Friday, then maybe they can't do nothing until Monday. So I don't want to put too much speculations on the Callaway one until a bit more information comes out on maybe why they didn't take him, or is there a reason? And then I'll sort of make a bit more of my thoughts on that sort of stuff. Carlton will be keen for revenge. Yeah. It's hard to say with Carlton because they don't even have a good ruckman anymore. So it's just sort of got all these new players in as well. Lost their main ruckman, who was really good against us last year as well. So that's sort of up in the air as well. Panic again. Yeah, they could panic again. They may be able to. Then maybe the youth will get to them again. They just will freeze, which would be great. Yeah, well, that's another one. My bloody dog going off. I should probably close that window so we don't have to hear it bark while I'm trying to talk. Get that close. So what was I, sorry? Yeah. That's probably I think that's the biggest issue with the Suns now. It's going to be, we're going to take players off them because they can't obviously keep everybody there, and then they're going to win. You keep taking out players, but you keep delaying you to bring your academy players back in. Like, you shouldn't have got what you got this year. So up in the air. We need to be aiming for a good start this season, not just against Carlton. Our draw is pretty easy. like we have a good draw. Yeah, you're right. We have a really good draw this year as well. I just definitely think the round one, I think it just sets the tone, and that's what I think it did for this year, because we bet Carlton. We had a couple of bad games, like Brunch against St Kilda, Port Adelaide, Freo. Then we bet Gold Coast. So it was, the tone was set, and we, even against the games against the Fremantle, the St Kilda, and just what he said the other one as well, Port Adelaide, we had quarters where we set the tone again. It was just that we couldn't consistently do it for the 4 years, and the 4 quarters, and that's the premises of what maybe this year is, to not have 1 or 2 good quarters, or have 3 good quarters, but that second quarter we fade out, and that fade out is just a really bad fade out. So I'm hoping this year's sort of goal is to increase the pace, but have a consistent 4 quarters. You can have one lull quarter, and you're going to have that. Everyone has that, no matter how good you are. You always have a lull quarter. Even in Richmond's prime, we still had lull quarters. We just made up for it with the other 3 quarters. You don't win a game off 1 quarter unless you're North Melbourne or West Coast from this year. So, yeah, I do want to beat North this year. I really do. They just have the Mickey over us. I don't know how. Bulldogs are doing the same as well. I just feel like there's always a couple of clubs that they just always have some sort of way to beat you. And Gold Coast did it for us for years when they first came in. We just couldn't work out why they keep beating us. Really got annoying. Yeah, look, and that's what I was saying. Yeah, like Callaway might be better off to go back to the Sandford and spend a year or 2. But if you do that, he can't be a father and son. So I'm pretty sure once he nominates once as a father and son, I don't think he can come back in as a mature age and be father and son again. So maybe that's why I'm suggesting it's speculation. Are they going to do the VFL thing with him? Let him sign up as a VFL player, give him a chance to develop in the VFL, and then maybe mid-season pick him up. So, because I think Richmond would be going off how we are on the ladder, but we could have a top 3 pick in the mid-season draft. Or if I know there's Ollie Hottons on there as well, so also depends on list spots as well. Great kicking in front of goal as well, please. Yeah, look, they'll be fixed by Jonty, I think, and Harry Armstrong a bit more once they've got a bit more consistent with their season. Tom Lynch not being suspended as much as another one that really hurt. Yeah. And look, that's probably a big thing that killed us last year. If we had a bit more accuracy in front of goal, like the Giants game, we would have won without a shadow of a doubt. Here's one. This is a good one. Hey, everyone, what's the highest place you want to finish given its last Tassie free draft? I sort of don't care where we finish, as it's stupid as that probably sounds to say. More want to sort of just show some progress. I don't want to get in the wild card. No way. I don't think we're as our players are ready for a wild card, and I'm just not sure the wild card would be best for their mental game right now. I think you'd be sucked that you've just worked all this hard. You make it to the wild card and you just get slapped out in the first round. Maybe 2027 is 2027, 2028 is where I think we start to climb a lot higher. So I think we'll be bottom 5 this year, and I'm happy with that as long as it's just the whole showing progress, not just as a on the field, but more off the field. The players, the game style as well. So the coaching is another progress we want to see, because Uze is still a very young coach. So I definitely think we need to see some progress in the coaching range as well. Sorry. Knowing when to make calls. I think we can all say a few times last year, there was multiple times where we thought they need to make a decision to change some things because it wasn't working in that quarter, but they didn't change it and the same thing kept happening. I don't think Ooze next year will fix that, and hopefully he'll learn from those lessons. Yeah, it's not important about the wins at the moment. I think it's just winning in the margins, as what we've all been saying in the last quite some time now. Winning the margins. I think you still need to win games, because that winning games gives players confidence. You don't want to end up like some of the North Melbourne, going back to North Melbourne, where they had played 6 seasons of their career and they had won 13, 14 games, where that was 4 or 5 seasons, where in Richmond, in those 2 seasons from this year and last year, we had won 7 games. So in 2 years, we were bad for the 2 years, same as them, and we had won half many games they had won, but they had done in 5 years. So you need to start to slightly climb up. Percentage is another good indicator. Like, what sort of percentage do we want to see as well? So that's another one. So what we'll do is as well, while we're still going, I will bring up Zane's draft as well, so we can have a look into Zane. I think it's Pecker is how you pronounce it. So he was another teammate of Sam Cumming. So I don't know if everybody's playing me a video. I did not want to do that, but now I can't get rid of it. So as I recall, he was a teammate of Sam Cumming. There was a photo actually posted of those two together. So I like the idea. They've actually drafted 3 South Australian players. I think that's a good idea. Now, Sam Cumming, I don't have to worry about him going home because he's actually a Madura boy, so he's actually mostly Victorian. He actually even said he spent most of his life in Victoria. It was more of his high school time. I think when he said he hit like year 9 onwards is where he went to boarding school, and boarding school was in South Australia. So, yeah, bottom 3, but with being competitive every game. Yeah, good teams are not going to have a third year. Yeah. I do agree. I think we can say that was definitely true that there's a few times where Brisbane sort of took their foot off the pedal. We kind of come back. Melbourne did it a bit this time when we lost the Ds for the Anzac Eve game. The only issues with that sometimes is we've seen it where they take their foot off the pedal and other clubs, sometimes you just can't catch up. The momentum swung too much. So Zane is a small forward, actually. So he's actually 179 centimeters as a forward/mid. Strengths are energy, power, hurt factor. I love the fact that it was hurt factor. And his kicking penetration, scoreboard impact, and speed. So he was actually ranked, I think he was the second best small forward in the draft. Aerial was at 12. The average, agility is average, endurance is below average. So it's obviously something we're gonna have to work on. And his speed was elite. Strength, which is above average, and then it was the whole ceiling was above average. Consistency is average. Contested ball is above average, and disposal is average. Kicking efficiency is not great at 60%. Average 11 disposals, but he had a couple of games where he actually sort of tore it up quite well, so which is really good as well. So is Sam Cumming relative to Daniel Cumming, who played for us in this? I will. Can't have to Google it, can I? Daryl. So I didn't even say that bloody right. Am I spelling it right? Daryl. I don't think so. We'll find out in about 10 seconds if I can find out. Yeah, we played Barracara. He played for Richmond and North Melbourne, South Melbourne as well. Trying to see if are they related, but it's not. It doesn't say they're related. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's not. I can't find anything that says they are. So. Yeah. If we are prepared, we will be able to be capable of beating teams that we didn't think we could be. Yeah. We are more than capable of beating teams. Yeah, we didn't see happening like maybe next. Like we lost to Essendon. I don't think we would have lost if we had Nate. We would have lost to Nate Curvis. So we wouldn't have lost to Essendon in the Dreamtime. There's a lot of games that we shouldn't have lost that we did, but there's games we shouldn't have won, but we did. So it is definitely up in the air. I definitely think we're going to win the same amount as we did last year. I think 5 or 6. We're right where we are. Hopefully the percentage climbs up a little bit, and we're just a bit more consistent. And obviously, we get more games into our young players, and they stay out on the track a bit more. We don't have a Jonty going out near the end of the year, Lawler going out halfway through the year, Harry Armstrong early, which is the craziest thing considering last year's report was that Luke Traynor was an injury-prone concussion player, and that's why North was a bit worried about taking him because he had concussion issues. And then in the end, he was probably our most consistent player who pretty much played. I think he played every game but and he was a sub. I don't think he actually missed a single game. He played he missed one. I think they rested him on one game. That's it. And he was the only one who I think out of draftees that played every single game without missing as well. So just shows you that you never know with the draft and how they say things and how they're going to work out as well. So that surprisingly that he was the most consistent player we actually had. And we'll do the last draft analysis on Noah Roberts-Thomas, which is related to this. They said it was shifted, said he's related to the Sydney, I think he's his uncle's or nephew. So he is a mid/forward at 181 centimeters, so he's not very tall. I think they were saying that he could play on the wing. So his agility, footy IQ, which is really good to say, clean hands, contested ball, running capacity, and scoreboard impact. So he was good. He had 22.2 disposals, 4.8 marks, 4.5 tackles, which is really good to see. I definitely agree we need to improve on our tackles. Clearances were good. Goals were 1.1. And then aerial was it average, agility above average, endurance average. I think every player's and I haven't seen anyone who's got an elite endurance, speed above average, and what's that? Strength average. Yep. On field sort of reviewing, ceiling is an average. Everything else is consistent as well. So I did have Zane and what's his name? Zane and Noah's draft combine sort of thing set up in here as well. It would be nice to see all of our young players on the park at the same time and injury-free. Yeah, it would be nice. That seems to be a really common thing for us right now. And that's true. Noah Bolter would be settled this year as well from, again, it was his own mistake. That was his own fault, but he will have had, a year off to sort of reflect on what he did. The media won't be, blasting him as much, which is ridiculous how the media did blast him, considering we all know what Willie Rioli did, and he got 1 week. So I don't agree down that path as well. But we'll talk. I'll get up the draft combine stats for Zane and for Noah, because I think Noah and Zane both actually hit pretty good in the combine as well. So they don't actually have their buy. Oh, they don't have it on this one. It must be only for like a top 10 sort of thing. Doesn't have what their draft combine was. Or maybe unless Zane didn't go to the draft combine, because that was another one. Some players didn't get to go. And there's no... Oh, here we go. Cool. So he actually is related. So that's a good one. So he's actually related to Robert Thomas, who plays for the Sydney Swans, premiership player. For Lewis, Robert Thomas. He tested extremely well in the draft combine, running a 2.91. So his sprint was actually faster than Sam Grill's, which is actually quite good as well. And then his agility test ranked him 6th at 8.02. So that put him in top 7 or so 6th on the agility test. I think actually Xavier Taylor might have won that because he was like a 7.77. So that's another good one. Yeah, Judson Clark, that's another one. It'd be nice to get him back as well from injury. I do have my concerns about Judson Clark and if he's going to sort of get back to be able to play, because it's such a bad constant to do it constantly. Should we try Ollie? The report was that they were picking him up for the VFL, and they had talked about giving him a mid-season spot if they had an opening in that time of the year. So, look, they might even invite him. Like, there's a couple of players from other clubs that got delisted that I really thought deserved an opportunity. I think it's Ryan Burton from Port Adelaide, who got traded from the Hawks, who never wanted to leave in the first place. He got delisted, and I don't think they're going to pick him back up again as well. So there will be a fair few players. Like maybe, does anybody know? I'll ask the question. Does anybody know if Noah Hibbins-Hargrave actually got picked up from anybody? Because if he didn't, then that's another player you can attempt to pick up as well. Pretty sure you can do that as well as a train-on thing. So it's like another player that was rated top 25 and didn't go. So it's hard to say. Elijah Holland, I'm not sure we're there yet for Elijah Holland. I'll be honest with you. He does have the most upside to get. There you go. So, yeah. Noah Hibbins-Hargrave didn't get picked up, which is a shocker for me. Definitely a prospect that I would say to wanting to have. But yeah, I still want to know. There must have been some sort of attitude issue with the Noah Hibbins-Hargrave if he didn't get picked up, because he was a really good athlete, and he would suit really well with Richmond. And of our young prospects coming up as well, so not against it. Oh yeah, so you heard that Tom? I thought I'm surprised he didn't get picked up either. That's another good name. So yeah, it's gonna be. So maybe that's gonna be the thing. It's gonna make it hard for people to get a spot. Maybe that's why they didn't take anyone in the rookie draft, because they knew there was an opportunity to get somebody in for the SSP, which has proven to be very successful since they brought it in as well. We've had a few. Freo's had a few as well, so it's good. All right, guys, we're sitting around an hour and 10. I think that's what we'll call it for tonight. It's getting quite late, and it's a Saturday night, so it's crazy that all you guys are actually on here watching me ramble on about shit. Oh, you meant Elijah Hollins, not Ollie. Yeah, sorry, mate. No, Elijah. Yeah, I'm not sure that we're at the stage. We could, don't get me wrong, we definitely could. You have Nate, Tim Taranto, Checker Popper. You've got enough senior and premiership players that could probably get him in and sort him out. Richmond's been known for quite a good club to bringing in troubled players. It's hard to. I don't know everything that's happened with Elijah, and it's none of my business. That he had all I know is had off-field issues, and then that's it. So I'm just not sure we want that around our club right now. We're just not there yet. So we didn't have an extra list spot last year. We might need a mid-season for it. Yeah, we do have, but because we didn't. I'm pretty sure we actually had a rookie spot. So we still have a rookie opening, and that's the thing. We haven't taken one for this year. And last year, in the mid-season, we didn't have one. This year, if we don't pick any in the SSP system, then we can. And like I said, I think maybe Prestia retires halfway through the year as well. So it's just it's obviously if his body holds up, and he won't, but you just never know. So, yeah, I just don't think Elijah's is. I just don't think it's there. I don't think we are for the need. Maybe if he was in a year or two, when you sort of had our own players mature a bit more, we drafted, and we're seeing a bit more leadership from these younger guys as well. So yeah, not for me. That's my personal opinion. This is a lot of stuff I say guys on YouTube about anything is just my personal opinion and my view. I don't act like I have any knowledge. I'm not like Michael, where Michael has connections to the club. And he gets a bit more information given to him than I do. I'm legit just a person who lives out in New South Wales that does not have any connections to the club. I'm a big country boy from Kyron, near where Brett Delidio is from, Brett Delidio is from, which is why I was a mad Delidio fan growing up. But just don't have much information, connection with the club, anything like that to know any of these sort of things. I just go off what I hear and see, and then I just give you my view. And if you guys like it, you like it. If you don't like it, it's fine. It's just how I'm seeing things as well. The cricket test is finished, so had nothing else to do. Well, at least I'm giving you something to do. It's a Friday night. I do appreciate you jumping on and watching me. Did see I don't watch cricket that much unless my pop's around. He keeps me busy as well, so it does make that quite entertaining as well. Yeah, you live right next to the. Wow, that's cool. You live right next to the punt road. That'd be great. I don't have any, and I don't have any connections. How do you get them? I would love to know how I get connections to Richmond. Don't you know that? I'd love to be able to one day walk into punt road. I did it when I was younger. I do have a story for that one. When I was 6 or 7, my brother was sponsored by TAC back when Richmond was actually sponsored by TAC. So I used to go to a lot of the footy games at Richmond when I used to live in Melbourne when I was younger. And we got to go on the news with Matthew Richardson. I actually have the photo somewhere, maybe around the house. I mean, my mum has it. It's me and my brother with Richo getting a photo, and he was on the news. And we were meant to say they asked you who your favourite player was, and you meant to say Richo. But we were mad Joel Bowden fans, and we had number 11 on our back, and we just kept, I think it was like 10 times my mum said we did it. We eventually did say Richo, but we actually had Joel Bowden on our back and said that we were actually his big fans of him. And it got Richo quite actually grumpy as well, because it was just taking too long and he wanted to go home. So it was quite. I think I still have I haven't been to football. That football actually up here, you guys can see. will be the actual signed football I got when I was actually there. The numbers are actually all faded quite well and all the signatures, but that was the actual football I got when I went to the football club. And I believe that was probably my first and only time. I had a big training day and got to sit there and meet Richo and Darren Gasper. I think Darren Gasper there. Chris Newman was there as well. Delidio was, I think Brett Delidio was a rookie. Might have been his first year when Brett Delidio was there as well. So it was quite fun actually. But yeah, that's a good little story for you about how actually I've always been a Richmond supporter, so that's fine. That's just from my family. So yeah. Is that Ollie Holland? Is that Elijah saying he has a nice left foot? I do agree. Left footers seem to be the best players as well. So I don't know why. That's why I was keen on Josh Lindsay for a while and Jacob Farrell, both left footers. But all right, guys, we'll leave it at that. Just over an hour. I was going to do it last night. I was too tired. I think I fell asleep by about 8:30. And kids both ended up in my bed last night, kicking me and keeping me awake as well. So I lost my. What was it? I lost my teddy bear as like an 8-year-old at the MCG when Roy Hilton presented me with another one as a kid. Wow, and my kid's still that is cool. That is a good story as well. That's cool. Players actually the player actually got you a teddy back. That's really cool. So all right, guys, that's it for tonight. Really do appreciate everyone jumping on. If you could, before I go, if you haven't subscribed already, hit the like and subscribe button. I am pushing towards 400. The goal was to be hitting 500 by the end of the year. That might be a little bit asking a bit much for my first year of doing it. But my goal is 400. I think I'm at 362-ish, so I'm slowly getting towards 400. Do appreciate everybody who watches as well. I'm hoping to get, I think it's Tiger Territory. I'm trying to reach out to him to get him to jump on as well. I think he's just started another YouTube channel. So I think there's like 3 Richmond channels floating around. So I'm trying to get him on, and maybe with Michael's as well. Sort of get a trio of Richmond YouTubers to do a good one. Maybe I'll try and get them on for a bit of a review of what we want to see, maybe a best 23. And we did actually, we actually did draft speed. We did draft speed. Pretty much every player besides even Sam Cumming was quite fast. They were all in the 2.9, so 2K time trial, the 220-meter sprint. So thank you, widescreen. Really enjoy it. I hope you reach 400. Yeah, we'll get there slowly. It's a marathon with YouTube. It's just a slow grind, but it's not really a grind if you actually enjoy it. I think the hardest thing is just trying to come up with new thumbnails and trying to find ways to improve the quality of stuff. So I think I'll be working on eventually getting a better mic just so it's a bit more clearer. And I'm trying to work on my camera as well. I'll eventually upgrade that as well over time. So as I always say at the end of every video, stay safe, because that's the main thing. We all want to get home safe to our family, and go Tigers. And I'll see you guys probably Monday when I do another video. See you later.